Welcome to DET tutorial. In this video we are looking at this second question from 2019 JAMB. The question is the period of inactivity seen in some animals during long period of heat or drought is migration, estivation, hibernation, and D, adaptation. So this question is from the topic adaptation. What is adaptation? Adaptation is the possession of special features and structures which enables an organism to survive in its environment. Those special features and structures that enables an organism to survive in its environment is what is referred to as adaptation. In this fish, for instance, the gills is a structure that enables the fish to breathe in water. So gill is that structure, that feature that enables this fish to survive in water. So we can say that the gill is an adaptation for life in water. So it is the gill that enables the fish to survive in water. So adaptation, like I said, they are those special features and those special structures which enables an organism to survive in its environment. So the three key words there are the features and structures that enables an organism to what? To survive in its environment. In biology, we have basically two types of adaptation. They are the structural adaptation and the behavioral adaptation. The structural adaptation is also called the morphological adaptation, and the behavioral adaptation is also called the physiological adaptation. So when you see structural adaptation, you think of morphology, and when you see behavioral adaptation, you think of physiology, which is also called the physiological adaptation. So in this video, we are concerned about the behavioral adaptation. So what is behavioral adaptation? Behavioral adaptation are simply ways in which an organism conducts and manages itself to ensure its survival in its environment. The way an organism conducts and manages itself to ensure its survival in its environment is what is referred to as behavioral adaptation. The way an organism manages itself to survive, to ensure its survival in its environment. And in this question, we are looking at behavioral adaptation under unfavorable condition. That is, when the condition of the environment becomes unfavorable for the organism, how does it behave? How does it conduct itself in order for it to survive, to ensure its survival? So that is what behavioral adaptation under unfavorable condition is all about. Behavioral adaptation under unfavorable conditions is of two forms. We have hibernation and estivation. So behavioral adaptation under unfavorable conditions can either be hibernation or it can be estivation. These are the two forms of behavioral adaptation under unfavorable conditions. When the condition of the environment becomes unfavorable, some organisms will either hibernate or undergo estivation. So these are the two forms of behavioral adaptation under unfavorable conditions. So let's take the first one, which is hibernation. Hibernation is a form of behavioral adaptation in which an organism spends cold season in an inactive condition in a warm and safe place. In other words, when the condition of the environment becomes too cold for the organism, it will spend it in an inactive condition in a warm and safe place. So hibernation, you can consider it to be a form of inactivity due to cold season or cold weather. So that inactivity which is seen in an animal or in an organism during the cold season is known as hibernation, inactivity in cold season. So an examples of organisms that hibernate or that exhibit hibernation are shrews, monotremes, and bats. These are the three typical examples of organisms that undergo hibernation. That is, they undergo inactivity during cold season by spending that inactive condition in a warm and safe place. So it is a behavioral adaptation that enables them to survive during the cold season. Then we have the next one, which is estivation. Estivation is a type of behavioral adaptation, or is a form of behavioral adaptation in which an organism spends dry and hot season in an inactive condition in a cold and safe place. And examples of organisms that carries out estivation or that estivates are African lungfish, snails, and frog. These are typical examples of organisms that estivate. So estivation is that inactivity that is seen in an organism during the dry and hot season. So when the condition of the environment becomes too dry and hot for these organisms to survive, they will spend it in an inactive condition in a cold and safe place. So estivation is a form of behavioral adaptation in which an organism spends dry and hot season in an inactive condition in a cold and safe place. Inactivity seen in an organism during the cold season is referred to as hibernation, while inactivity seen in an organism in the hot and dry season is known as estivation. So during hibernation, they will spend this cold season in a warm and safe place, and in estivation they will spend the dry and hot season in an inactive condition in a cold and safe place. So it's like the opposite. And also note the examples. Examples of organisms that hibernate are shrews, monotremes, and bats. And examples of organisms that estivate are African lungfish, snails, and frogs. So back to the question. The period of inactivity seen in some animals during long period of heat or drought is, drought simply means dry season. So the period of inactivity seen in some animals during the long period of heat or drought, that is the dry season, is it migration? No. Is it estivation? Yes. Estivation is the form of behavioral adaptation that is seen in organisms during the dry and hot season, in which they spend that dry and hot season in an inactive condition in a cold and safe place. So it is a estivation. Is it hibernation? No. Hibernation is the inactivity seen in animals during cold season. So it's the opposite of estivation. Is it adaptation? No. So the period of inactivity seen in some animals during long period of heat or drought is estivation. So estivation is the correct answer. Estivation is the period of inactivity seen in some animals during the dry and hot season.